Are you exhausted? Perhaps you're juggling multiple day jobs, submitting for auditions, auditioning when opportunities come in, working with a sketch comedy group, trying to write your own TV show, and embarking on a new romantic relationship, all at the same time. Your list of goals is a mile long, and you feel like in order to achieve what you want, that you have to do everything now. When you find yourself without enough hours in the day to get everything done, do you end up sacrificing your self-care and working instead? How often have you found yourself completely burnt out, unable to do anything but binge TV or sleep? I know. I used to do the same thing. Fortunately, I've found a better way. Hi, I'm Natalie Neckyfarrow, and I'm an actress, creator, and life coach, and the founder of Cultivating Empathy Coaching. Welcome to Embodying the Seasons, my new show dedicated to helping actors and creatives like yourself discover how to achieve your dreams without burning out. Throughout the course of this first season, we'll talk about how to build sustainable habits and practices that encompass everything from goal setting to self-care, so that you can experience what it's like to be in the flow and live your most creative and fulfilled life. So let's begin. A little over a year ago, as things were just starting to shut down because of the pandemic, I was completely exhausted. I had taken on my first real job as a support gig and was discovering how hard it was to manage a Pilates studio 25 hours a week and find time for my career. My schedule was erratic and irregular. Some days I opened the studio at 6:45 a.m., and other days I went in as late as 1 p.m. While I was there were what seemed like infinite demands on my attention between our clients and the staff. For me to set aside even 10 minutes to try to book an EPA appointment online seemed impossible. And then there was the time when I wasn't at the studio. It wasn't unusual for me to get interrupted by a text at least once a day. To say that I couldn't readily turn off the job was an understatement. I was making it to 2 or 3 auditions a week, but it was a struggle. I was pushing myself constantly to do more than my body could handle. So when the shutdown happened, and most of the people I know started to have a lot more free time, my schedule didn't abate at all. I now had the new responsibility of transitioning the studio from in-person to online. The work was relentless, but I made it all right by squeezing in acting classes between my work hours. It seemed like the ideal strategy. Unfortunately, by the end of last May, my body told me otherwise. I started developing dizzy spells, which eventually turned into me being dizzy all the time. I had to make some hard choices. Given the climate for work for actors, I decided to put my career on hold and allowed myself to focus on working my day job 5 hours a day. After that, I was on strict rest and self-care for the rest of the time. It was radical, uncomfortable, and truthfully didn't immediately lead to a solution. I was still tired most of the time, and I was sleeping 12 hours a day and taking naps too. So how did I move from a place where I could barely do one thing to now, when I have the most energy I've had in the last 18 months? It all started with nature. When I began my coach training last July, I was introduced to the concept of living within the cycles of nature. I learned that if you're menstruating, your hormonal cycle is monthly, not daily as it is for those without a menstrual cycle. Seems obvious, but I definitely wasn't treating my body that way. As you move through the different phases of your cycle, follicular, ovulation, luteal, and menstrual, your energy inevitably changes. In the follicular cycle, your body is preparing for you to get pregnant, so your energy ramps up and you start to feel more social. This is a great time for planning. In the ovulation cycle, your egg is released and your body can get pregnant. This is when you're at your most magnetic and most social. This is a good time to release and share things. In the luteal phase, your body starts preparing for pregnancy, even if you didn't actually fertilize an egg. your energy takes on more of a nesting quality. The first half of this phase is a great time to complete projects. In the second half, your energy starts to slow down and you start to feel more internally focused and less social. Finally, in your menstrual phase, your body is literally bleeding and shedding. This is when you need more rest and to focus on restorative activities. You'll feel your least social, and it's a great time to reflect and journal, take long baths, and read books. If you aren't menstruating, you can still live cyclically by following the phases of the moon. The first quarter moon coincides with the follicular cycle, the full moon with ovulation, the last quarter moon with the luteal phase, and the new moon with the menstrual phase. When I learned this, I started implementing it right away. I knew that getting more in sync with my cycle could only help me counteract my health challenges. I began by tracking my period and the moon and noticing how much energy I had and how I felt during each phase. As I was beginning the tracking process, I also tried to start planning my activities around what I had read was most conducive to the different parts of my cycle. The more data I gathered, the more I was able to combine the information I had read with my own observations. Knowing that I didn't have to show up with the same intense energy I had been on a daily basis, the equivalent of being in the ovulatory or full moon phase constantly, was so freeing. And it was essential to me starting to feel better and being able to handle more without burning out. So, you might be wondering how you can begin doing this for yourself. Check out the show notes for some self-practice journaling questions and resources. I'd also love for you to join me this coming Wednesday, September 22nd, for a special workshop, Stepping into Abundance. We'll be using the power of the autumnal equinox to explore how to transform what you have into what you want. That link is in the show notes as well. Did you enjoy this video? Please like, share, and subscribe to Cultivating Empathy Coaching to find out about future episodes of Embodying the Seasons. And join me for my next episode, where I'll be diving deeper into goal setting geared specifically towards those of us who try to take on too much. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.